Most leaders don't have a productivity problem, they have a priority problem. You're probably answering emails, answering phone calls, putting out fires for your team, all while focused on the urgent problems and not the important ones that are really moving your business forward. I'm Michael Esposito, and I help founders, executives, and leaders just like you communicate clearly to your team what your priorities are. In this video, we're going to go over what major priorities you have in your business and how to separate those from the urgent ones, all while clearly delivering your message to your team, protecting time, and not causing any confusion down the road. And if this video gives you any value, please make sure to like and subscribe. Before we jump into this, I have a PDF that helps you communicate your message clearly as a leader, so make sure to grab your free copy down below. Let's jump into it. Here's the thing. Being busy can sometimes feel productive. You're answering the emails, in fact, clearing your inbox. How many of you have ever really sat there and tried to clear your inbox? I know I tried it once, and about an hour into it, I was wondering, what am I really getting out of this? Maybe you get that peace of mind, but the truth is it's not productive. It feels busy, it feels important in that moment, but it's not, and it's not productive. Being busy can make you feel productive. It can even make you feel important. It can feel like you're moving the ball forward. But busyness does not create progress. We feel like the guy pushing the boulder up the hill and wondering, when will I ever get there? And the reason is that we're so focused on the busy tasks that we're not paying attention to the important, the needle-moving activities that actually get you to your goal. Productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters with clarity, with intention, and with purpose. As a leader, you probably recognize this. There is so much on your plate. You have so many things to do. And that's why it's so important that you're disciplined. That's why it's so important that you're able to manage your day and your tasks in a way that prioritizes what's important and what you must do right now and what could maybe wait. We're managing expectations, energy, we're managing people, we're managing our trust in people. And if we get caught up in all of the urgent tasks throughout the day and we allow that to be the loudest noise we hear, then we're going to miss out on the important things. Because important things aren't always loud. Sometimes the important things are very quiet. And that's where leadership breaks down. I had to learn this in my own life. I'm the founder of 2 companies, president of my Toastmasters Club, commissioner of my basketball league, director of CYO basketball. I sit on 2 executive boards. I sit on the executive board for Forgotten Children of Haiti and the executive board for Athletes for Mental Health. I also, in my businesses, have to run meetings and be a part of meetings, speaking engagements, workshops, one-to-one coaching, and oh yeah, I'm working on a book. So how do I prioritize all of this? How do I figure out how to be in those meetings and be present? How do I figure out how to move the needle forward in the projects that I'm trying to execute on? And on top of all of that, how do I be present as a father and as a husband? Because it's important for me to be there for my daughters, to take them to ballet, to soccer, to coach them in basketball, and to be there for family game nights or family movie night, to go out on a date with my wife. How do I prioritize all of this stuff? I'm going to be honest with you. When I first started as an entrepreneur and in leadership positions like this, I struggled. I was trying to juggle all of this stuff at once, and I dropped and broke a lot of plates. That meant relationships. That meant partnerships. That meant areas and projects in my business that I neglected and ended up not being able to execute on. And that's why this framework that I'm going to share with you is so important. Because when we are stuck in focusing on everything that's urgent, when everything is a priority, when everything feels important to us, then they start falling at the wayside. And we start neglecting our attention to the things that need to get handled in that moment. And things are only getting half our attention instead of all of our attention. When everything feels important, nothing becomes important. So a process that's helped me figure out how to prioritize all of this stuff is asking myself some important questions. What's important and what matters right now? What's something that I can put off to the side or off till next week? What's going to move this project forward? What's going to deepen my relationship? And one of the greatest questions to ask is, what do I want more? What do I want out of this? How do I have a greater yes than this other project? See, a lot of times we don't realize it, but our greater yes, it's what's going to drive us forward and makes it a lot easier to say no to the things that aren't as important. This is part of the process that I've developed and that we're going to break down in the One Framework. And I've used it in my life in order to prioritize all of the things I just listed to you and make it so that my days, my weeks, my months, my years can all work together, all while being present as a father, present as a business owner, present on the committees that I serve, and in all of the leadership positions I hold. The first part of this framework is all about owning your greater yes. And what's really great about this part is that it's going to help you say no to more things that just don't feed you. They don't fuel you. You're not passionate about it, but you're doing it. You're doing it because you feel like you have to do it, or you feel like it's part of the business or something that you need to do as a leader. And the truth is, not everything fuels you as a leader. Not everything is going to drive the ball forward for you as a leader. I have a perfect example for you. I was working with one of my clients, and he came to me and was asking me about scheduling. He was trying to balance his calendar. He was serving on several committees, and he was part of several boards, and then he was also trying to get clients and prospects through the door for his business. And in all three of these areas, he's trying to move the needle forward. He's trying to complete all these projects, meet all of these goals, from the committees to the clubs to the business. And so we went for a long walk. It's typically how I like to work with my clients. We go for a really long walk, and I ask a lot of questions. And a lot of the questions I asked him had to do with how he feels when he's working within that committee, how he feels when he's working on that board, and how he feels when he's working with clients. What we were able to obviously uncover was that when working with clients and prospects, he loves the work that he does and he needs to meet those goals, and therefore it definitely is a priority. That made it easy to put that on the calendar. The next part we had to tackle was the clubs or the committees that he serves on. And he served on so many clubs and committee boards that we had to decipher which one of these fuel you. And so I asked him again, how do you feel as a board member? How do you feel as a committee member? What does this organization do to fuel you and your passions and your values? And I asked him the same question for the boards that he serves on. And what we were able to figure out was about half of the boards and the committees that he served on don't fuel him. That he actually served on these boards and committees because he felt that he had to, because he felt an obligation to his community, or he felt an obligation based on someone's commitment, someone's asking his commitment on it. What we discovered was that he didn't have a greater yes for those things. So it wasn't about his calendar anymore. It was really about his passion and what fuels him. And that's when I asked him the question. I said, where does your greater yes lie? Where are the things that you really are passionate about, that you really do care about? What are those committees? What are those boards that you want to serve on? By having a greater yes and being able to say no to more things within his values, he was able to cut it down from about 6 or 7 committees and boards that he was a part of down to about 2 or 3. And that created a lot more time for him on his calendar. He was able to say no to them while keeping his values intact, while feeling good about himself. And then he was able to execute on those priorities. He was able to then give his full attention to those other committees and those other boards, all while building his sales business. Stephen Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, teaches this in his urgent versus important matrix. In using that matrix, it's helped me resolve so many issues, from understanding my urgent and important tasks, that's our deadlines, Those are the important meetings that are going to move the project forward. Those are the important emails or conversations that we have to have right now and can't be put off to the side because they are part of a project that is getting completed right now. In this matrix that he's created, we then move into the next stage, which is important but not urgent. And these are the important tasks. This is like when I joined Toastmasters. It was important to me to learn how to become a better speaker. So it's in the preparation of things. That's very important to prepare for a meeting. It's very important to build on your presentation skills and your communication skills. It's very important to set up the meetings. But they're not urgent things. They're not things that should take up your time right then and there in the moment. And then we have our urgent but not important things. And that just goes back to those emails that you get, those phone calls that you get, those interruptions of people's urgent meetings that they need on your calendar right now, but truly aren't urgent or important in that moment. And so while we're on the topic of not urgent and not important, those are our time wasters. Those are the things when we're looking at our inbox and want to delete all of the emails in there that we don't need anymore and clean out our inbox. Those are the time wasters of putting together an entire list for things that we don't even need the list for. How many times have you created a checklist and you're wondering, why am I even doing this? Is it really moving the needle forward on the project? Well, those are the not urgent, not important tasks. Leaders that don't understand this matrix, this is where the breakdown happens in their organizations. We have a leader who wants to create a better culture, but doesn't protect time for one-to-ones. Or maybe you want to become a better speaker, a better presenter, but you don't make time to prioritize the communication skills and develop as a speaker that you want to be. Or maybe you just want to become a healthier person and you want to eat healthier and make more time to become fit, but you don't prioritize that time to go to the gym and for your nutrition and maybe doing some meal preps. You see, when you don't understand how to prioritize what's important and what's urgent from what's not important and what's not urgent, all of those things fall at the wayside. And it's because urgency is loud, and a lot of times important things are quiet. And it takes focus and clarity to really see what is important and focus your time there. And as a leader, that's one of the greatest strengths that you can create for yourself, is how to gain that clarity on figuring out what's urgent versus what's important. And when we can go through this matrix and really prioritize what is urgent and important to what is important and not urgent and so on, then we're able to create a more productive calendar for ourselves, one that operates almost seamlessly and one that we can create time for. Time for to complete the tasks and time to be present with the people who are important within those projects. In working through that matrix, now you have the clarity on how to identify what's important. And that moves us into executing with focused time. We can have the greater yes, and we can go through the entire matrix. But if we don't create time for these projects, for the things that we care about, then they're just never going to get done. When I learned about time blocking, I didn't think I could actually do it. I'm going to be honest with you. It was a challenge for me. Looking at my calendar, I thought, well, I have so many things on my calendar. How am I going to block time? But going through this process allowed me to start blocking time. So having the greater yes, I was able to remove things from my calendar. By prioritizing from important and urgent, I was then able to move things around on my calendar within my week and my month. And then I started having openings in my calendar. And it was those openings that I was able to start creating what's called block time. Block time is where we're able to create that focus time for those projects. Block time is also known as making appointments with ourselves. You see, we're so quick to make meetings and appointments with other people, and we'll keep those meetings. We'll show up to those meetings 10 minutes, 20 minutes early in order to meet the expectation of the other person and respect their time. And we'll be with them for the allotted 45 minutes or hour time that we have scheduled with them. But for some reason, when we have a project, when something's important to us, we find it challenging to put that on our calendar and respect that time. And that's why it's so important that you pay attention to this part, which is executing on focused time, is going to your calendar and creating a schedule of the projects, of the things that you want to accomplish, block time, placing them in your calendar in a way that you can actually respect it, and keeping those appointments with yourself. When I learned how to do that, that's when I became more productive. Because just by having a bunch of ideas and a bunch of projects to work on does not make you successful. It's working within those projects. It's setting time aside for those projects that actually move the needle forward, that actually get those projects done step by step by step. I mentioned all of the different areas that I work on in the beginning of this video. And so therefore, on my calendar, I have set aside days and times that are blocked off for Toastmasters, for my basketball league, for writing in my book, for book ideas, for YouTube ideas, for things like this, blocking off the time and scheduling for it so that other things, the non-urgent, non-important things, don't just start eating up my time. Because there's something that you need to learn right now. We have what's called the Parkinson's law and the Pareto's principle. And when we learn these two, we then understand our calendars a lot better. And in Parkinson's law, this law states that when given a certain amount of time for a task, that task will take that amount of time. And using that, we then know that if we have empty time on our calendar, then it's going to be filled with empty tasks. Whereas if we have time that is dedicated to a project on our calendar, then we will fill that time with that task and what's important within that task. And that's where we move into Pareto's principle. In Pareto's principle, it speaks to 80% of results come from 20% of your effort. And so you're able to block your time to recognize that 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your effort. So if you're blocking off an hour, you might actually only need about half an hour. And in Pareto's principle, this speaks to the idea that any task that you set a certain amount of time for, it will take up that entire amount of time. And so if you have all of this empty and free space on your calendar, then guess what? The non-urgent, non-important tasks are going to eat up all of that time. Your time wasters are going to eat up all of that time. But when you block time on your calendar and you dedicate time in a thoughtful way, now you have time set to projects, committees, and different important things that you care about on your calendar, keeping those appointments to yourself, keeping to that time. And now, if you set an hour aside or maybe half an hour aside for a project, you spend that time within that project, completing that project. By blocking your calendar this way and by focusing your time this way, you will be more productive. You're going to start seeing projects get completed at a faster rate, and you're going to start feeling as though when you push that boulder up the hill, you actually have these stop points where you can look around, celebrate your wins, and keep pushing that boulder because you're a leader. And for some reason, we just never stop. So now that I know you're making time for yourself and you're keeping to your appointments and to your calendar, I have a challenge for you. What's one thing? What's the one thing that you're going to accomplish after watching this video? What's the one thing that you're going to set time aside for after watching this video? See, when you figure out what that one thing is, that's going to make everything so much easier. because you don't need to do so many tasks and so many activities every single day. You just need to do one thing that's important, one thing that's going to move the needle forward. And when you focus on that one thing, set time aside on that one thing, then you're going to be able to say no to the other things. Come back to this framework from time to time. Own your greater yes. Name what's urgent versus important. And execute on focused time to deliver on what matters most to you. In order to help you communicate these goals and your priorities more clearly to your team, make sure to download your free PDF. And if this video gave you value, then please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel in order to receive more tips, more frameworks that are going to help you be a better leader, communicate more clearly. That's my goal. That's my mission. Here at Amplifying Leadership, I want to amplify your leadership. I want to help you get to where you're trying to go. So why don't you drop that in the comments? Where are you trying to go? What's a priority for you? And what's that one thing that you're trying to execute on? As always, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for your commitment to your leadership. Stay happy and stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.